Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. And welcome back to Radio Apni Waz. This is your Sunday afternoon show with your host Abu Musa. And this show goes live from 3 p.m. to 4 p.m. And after me, inshallah, you will have the pleasure of Brother Abdul Jabbar, who will be with Brother Amir, and they will be doing their show after this, inshallah. So as I was saying, I was talking about in the last 20 minutes ago, discussing the whole issue around gambling and all the opportunities this society offers, because it's difficult being a Muslim in this society without being tempted, and society is full of temptations. Why? Because we live in a capitalist society. Capitalism, the capitalist society is all about nurturing happiness, joy, pleasure, enriching your life, with money, the pursuit of happiness. That's the criteria for the capitalist society, for the capitalist individual. They don't want to just exist on this earth and have no cause to celebrate, but they want something to celebrate. And winning the lottery, winning money, winning a house, winning something is very important for them, because materialistic world is very important, and the pursuit of material is very important. And for us, of course, I'm not saying the Muslims should be boring, that we shouldn't have anything material, that we can't attain this. But what I'm saying to you is there is a halal process or a halal manner of achieving this, and a haram manner of achieving this. And if you are subscribing yourself as a Muslim, then you need to think about this issue. It's very important that it is in the backbone that you are earning halal money. Anyway, moving on, brothers and sisters, I just want to move on to my first article, which of course most of you will know that this week there was the whole incident that took place in Manchester. And if this article opens up for me, then I will be able to refer to the article. So we had an attack on a synagogue in Manchester. Now, of course, it came to a shock to everyone. And an interesting point somebody made on social media when I was watching one of the videos of somebody circulating, because how often do you hear about a synagogue being attacked? How often have you ever heard of a Jewish place of worship being attacked? And given all of the issues going on at the moment, and the demonstrations and the protests going on in relation to Gaza and Palestine, you get a sensation that there is a huge public opinion against the state of Israel, against Zionism, and it seems like the Zionists and the Israeli kind of the Israeli system and government state has lost the kind of battle for hearts and minds, and it's really desperate, and it's really hanging on to sort of like to the straws, as they say. So it's bizarre, subhanallah. This whole situation happened. The counter-terrorism police have confirmed that the name of this, and this is going into detail actually, because after initially when the incident happened, we wasn't sure. Everybody, I guess all the Muslims were praying that it wasn't a Muslim that's behind the attack. And then obviously a news story released, and it came out that the individual in question was a Muslim. And interestingly enough, his name was Jihad al-Shami. You couldn't have made a name better than that. So, it's a bizarre situation often when you hear some of these things. And then obviously the net result becomes what? That every Muslim throughout the UK feels a sense of kind of guilt that they're responsible in some way, and apologizing and trying to highlight the fact that Islam is not this way, blah, blah, blah. And it's a frustrating kind of struggle, because when I'm sat here and I'm analysing the situation, I'm thinking, for the crimes committed against Muslims and humanity, when have you ever heard any other group of, ethnic group or religious group ever standing up and apologising for the act of somebody else, like they're responsible for what he's done or she's done? And we need to get away from this kind of mindset, this apologetic, attitude. Nobody wishes any harm upon another person. That goes without saying. So when I say what I say, it doesn't mean that, the places of worship should be protected. We know, under the Khilafah system, under the state of Islam, the Prophet ﷺ, he made a statement saying that all places of worship should be protected and not harmed. And that goes without saying. But, why do we feel the need to always apologize for things that are going on it's really sort of sad. And I look on social media and I see the number of people coming out and trying and making these claims that, you know, Allah says in the Quran that, you know, killing one individual is like killing a whole civilization. You know all these comments that you hear. Muhammad, can you just move that camera? I don't want it there. It's not a good angle. So yeah, you know, as I was saying, you know, there's so much going on there, and people are apologizing on social media, highlighting that Islam is just like it's an Islamic issue, like this is something we have to explain and justify. And it's sad because when you look at the world and you look at the media today, you find out that look, you know, there were attacks. There was an attack on a Mormon church. This is the Mormon community didn't apologize. Nobody came out and put pressure on them. So why is it that we feel pressure needs to be put on us? You know, there hasn't been discussions about Christians or the various sects being the cause of violence. We haven't heard about extremist Christians. So the media likes to spin a certain narrative, and the politicians like to hammer things into our communities, and we shouldn't be responsive. We shouldn't be responding to that kind of taunting that they have. So we need to kind of wake up to this kind of reality and not always go on the defensive. Yet we are now told that because the brown individual with the name Jihad al-Shami, which, you know what, you can't make that up, can you? Despicably attacked a Jewish synagogue, that's automatically labelled a terrorist attack. So you see how the media uses language, the government uses language that kind of puts the Muslims on the back foot. And we need to expose this, and we need to continue exposing this. It shouldn't be the case that we are entertaining it or we are kind of running alongside of it. You know, this is the wrong mentality that we have, and it's a dangerous mentality, and we need to move from this kind of way of thinking. I'm just going to carry on reading the article here. I mean, from what I know also from the incident, somebody was killed, and he wasn't killed by the culprit. It was killed by a member of the police force who shot a certain individual, a Jewish man, from the place of worship, and managed to kill him along the way. And this synagogue was a pro-Israeli synagogue, also from what we know. So they were defending Israel. They wasn't critical of what was going on in Gaza and what have you. So I'm going to move from this article and look at my next article briefly. Let's see now what else I've got here. Muslim group. Right. Let's have a look at this one. So this next article is Muslim police group. Met police racism scandal causes significant anger and hurt. So there was a recent documentary, I think it was Panorama, on the BBC that exposed the institutional racism within the police force. And we are well aware historically the police force has its issues institutionally, and there's always drives within the police force to recruit ethnic minorities, put brown faces in senior places just to make their PR work look really well, that they've kind of moved forward and what have you. But this documentary again highlighted the institutional racism. As Metropolitan Police scrambles to address a major racism scandal, a Muslim group has stated that the shocking findings of a BBC documentary have caused significant anger, hurt and concern amongst Muslim police officers and the wider community. Undercover TV documentary by the BBC exposed a group of police officers and staff who held disturbing racist, sexist, Islamophobic views were working at one of the UK's busiest police stations. 9 officers at Charing Cross police station could be sacked in an investigation into the programme's allegations of racism, misogyny, excessive force on prisoners and inappropriate behaviour. In a statement of the Association of Muslim Police, admitted that the shock revelations has eroded the trust the wider Muslim community has with the police. Now, surprise, surprise, you know, we're living in 2025. For some reason, people think the police force has moved on. Well, the reality is the police force hasn't moved on. And we can see that the ideas of this society don't change overnight. Just because you put on a uniform doesn't make you transform into a very inclusive kind of police force where you're recognizing all different religions, backgrounds, people, etc., etc. We can see here how these ideas are staunch within society, at every level, at every place. I'm just going to carry on reading this article here. Not going to go through the whole article, but recordings captured by an undercover journalist showing one officer, PC Phil Nielsen, while off duty, suggesting an immigrant who had overstayed his visa should be shot. So this was the attitude of one of the police members of the police force. This is an individual that is supposed to be defending the law and defending you when you ask for his protection or her protection. But you know, his view towards immigrants is that they shouldn't be here, they should be shot. While off duty drinking at the pub, PC Nielsen also told undercover reporter Rory Bibb that Algerians and Somalians are scum and make reference to there being an invasion of UK by migrants. I think any foreign person is the worst to deal with, he said. I've seen too many Islamics committing crimes. Their way of life is not correct way of life. You do not find that the ones that are causing the most crime are Muslim. So this police individual is referring to the Muslim community and linking crime and everything else to the Muslim community. So backlash and reactions following the program release on Wednesday evening, the massive backlash has erupted. I remember when I was sat in the car the following day listening to BBC Radio 4, you had the police chief on there, you had Keir Starmer on there, and they're all apologising and saying they're going to address this and eradicate that. And reality is you don't find it happening. Prime Minister Keir Starmer has branded the revelation shocking. Wow. Adding the Met Commissioner, Sir Mark Rowley, needs to be very robust in his response. So Mark has quickly issued an apology. And this is what they'll do. They apologise. But what happens? Nothing happens. It gets brushed under the carpet. People don't change. The reality is nothing is changing. Home Secretary Shabana Mahmood said, the disturbing scenes in this footage are sickening. I welcome the Independent Office for Police Conduct fully and urgently investigating all issues raised in this report. But fundamentally, brothers and sisters, nothing will change unless people's viewpoints to life change. And that is a deep-rooted issue that exists. And you could, on a surface level, pretend that you have made a superficial change, but you haven't. The reality is that your thoughts and your views remain within you, and they are only exposed at certain times.